Hey there, it's Jenny, and I'm back to share with you how I planned throughout the week. At first, here for my decor, I am going to be using the Misty, which is the best stamp tool ever invented, and my ink blot stamp. Oh my gosh, ink blot shop stamps. Sorry about that. All right, so the Misty's super cool. It's a stamp positioner. I have been using for several years a Tim Holtz platform, and I was able to get a Misty thanks to a collab between Inkblot and Misty. And I'm thrilled to give it a try. Now, let me start out by saying, see that little magnet down there? It's silver, obviously. I just forgot to use it. It's not that I don't know better. I just wasn't thinking. It's kind of a thing of mine, if you will. Anyway, it's not a big deal because my paper is super huge, so I know exactly how it would go. And y'all know by now, I am not a perfectionist, so no big deal as far as I'm concerned. However, it's very cool because it makes stamping a little bit easier and it lets you put the stamps specifically where you want them. So you set the stamp down, you close the lid, and then it picks it up exactly where you want it. It's very cool. So you'll be able to watch me do that several times throughout the process. So I am just setting up my week. I wanted to have this be a really fun, like arts and crafts type of week, and that's exactly how it ends up being. So the stamp set from Ink Blot, why is that so hard for me to say today? Anyway, it has paint and scissors and glue and all kinds of things, and it is really awesome for this idea. So now you can see I put the sticky note down to cover where I had already stamped. This allows me to layer my stamps without the lines crisscrossing over on the designs. So it's very cool because it looks like in that particular application, like the paper is on top of the scissors, or the scissors are behind the paper, whichever. Now over here, I'm going to do something similar. They're not going to actually overlap really, but I just wanted to make sure that I didn't have any problems because I didn't want this little bottle of glitter to overlap the stamped box at all. So you can see it's just super easy. You just ink up the stamp. I'm using a Chucky. It's kind of a stupid word, honestly, but it's what they call these little tools. They allow you to use these stamp platforms and get a really good image. So this one was very inexpensive. I purchased it off of Etsy. I think it's 3D printed, so it's very cool. Anyway, so you can see here I am just continuing to put down the stamps that I want to do. So like this, for example, it looks like a brush stroke, if you will. Like I am stamping out a brush stroke from a paintbrush. Now I'm going through my swatched colors for my ink pads. I don't know why that took me a second. It just did. And you could see I put the magnet down now for funsies. Like I was like, oh yeah, I should try this, like what a thing. Who knew? All right, so the hot pink, so cute. In case you hadn't figured out, because there'd be no reason for you to, I'm going to be doing a rainbow week. So you can see now I'm going to line up where the brush could go so it makes it look like it just created that pink brush stroke. Cool, right? So now I'm going to ink it up with black ink and then stick it down right there and use my Chucky to get some good pressure. And look at that. It looks like that brush just painted out that pink brush stroke. So this is really exciting for layering and combining and just making sure you're getting a great image. Now I'm going to do this little tube of paint right here next to the brush. So it looks like, you guessed it, the paint came from the tube and that it was just painted out right there. So like I said, this is just a fun arts and crafts week. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, especially given that, my whole life is basically arts and crafts, if you will. So okay, so now we have the basic setup for the week, right? Like this is the initial, like, oh, here's my decor. So you see the three little clusters, and now I'm going to use the Tombow brush markers to color in the items in a rainbow configuration. So in some cases, I'm using scratch paper to find the perfect shade of each color like I did right there for the purple. Now I know that I want it to be crazy colorful because it feels like arts and crafts would be really colorful. So I'm just going to do that throughout the week. Now this glitter bottle was really fun. All I did was just color in little dots of color in and next to the bottle to mimic the dots that are already there and to mimic glitter. I don't know about you, but I can see this glitter bottle perfectly in my head, like from art class or from like elementary school. I don't have a large bottle of glitter in my stash, but I can see it right there and it's so fun. All right, so now I'm still coloring in. Now what I'm gonna do is, okay, so this straddles the red and orange. So I am going to put down some red. It just was handy, right? I didn't plan this out to use the Misty lid, but and then pick up the red on my orange marker. So I'm holding an orange marker, I'm coloring with an orange marker, but I'm just picking up some of the red so that where that transition between the red and the orange isn't so stark, if that makes sense. I wanted it to blend in a little bit more. Obviously, it wouldn't have to. Obviously, it'd be fine if it was stark. However, I just decided that I wanted to go ahead and blend that in a little bit better. And so that was the purpose of using the orange marker, but picking up some of the red color on the orange marker. So see now there's just a little bit of flow. Don't get me wrong, it's not significant or anything like that, but I felt like it would be kind of fun and it would look pretty cute, so here we are. Now I'm going to just date these. These are just some Happy Planner from extension packs stickers. I really like them. I sort of wish they sold them separately because they're really very fun and easy to use. And honestly, I love the contrast. It's super bold and just looks really good. So look at that, there's the week. Now, I'm not quite finished. I do need to add something else, and I'm sure you probably already know what that is. I need to add my activities and the things that go on throughout the week. So I'm going to use these Studio Calico label stickers, old favorites of mine. They really just fit the bill perfectly, and I'm going to use them again in rainbow configuration throughout the week and put them down where I have different activities and appointments. I used to really love the ones that were totally colored. Now I also really love the ones that have the just the colored outline. It's just funny to me how my preferences shift and they change over time, and sometimes it happens so quickly. But I'm really loving it for this particular week just because I think it's fun to change up like how saturated and how if it's just a pop of color or if it's the entire thing, just looks really cool. All right, so now I'm going to plan as I go. Please forgive me, my filming schedule is such that I normally film in the mornings. However, with daylight savings time, that has really changed the light on my desk. So figuring out how to film and not have these bright swatches of light on my desk is going to be a challenge. I'm probably going to need to shift my filming time, but for today it was either film right now or for this week, I'm sorry, it was film right now or just let it be. So I decided that you would probably rather see it even with the sunlight on my desk. And I guess that's not the worst, right? I mean, having some sunlight shine in through the window. And I do film directly below a window. My desk is pressed up against the wall under a window, and I love, love, love it. So that's not going to change. So you can see that I alternated the boxes and using the highlighter right there. I am also not going to fill in the decorative elements day by day as I typically do. That's because I want to look at the week as a whole for where I fill in the rest of the elements. Partly that's because I'm using these stamps, partly it's because everything is really big in this stamp set. Okay, I shouldn't say everything, there are smaller things, but a lot of the things are a lot bigger. So I decided that I would just fill in things as they happened and things like that, and then I would go back and I would fill in the decor. Now, this is still day one. I had not filled in any of the things when I started. So on day one, I filled in Monday, and then I also am going back and filling in all the activities throughout the week as well, just so I can keep myself on track. I'm using a Sharpie pen. It is not a marker. It is not a gel pen. It is a felt tip pen. It's been my pen of choice for quite some time now. I really love felt tip pens, but I also, the Papermate Flare, which I used for a really long time, has a much bolder tip and it causes me to have to write a lot bigger. Well, that's not normally a problem or anything like that. It's just that I don't always have enough room to write a lot bigger. So the Sharpie pen fits the bill. It has a smaller tip and allows me to write at a size that works better. And then also I am able to still get that felt tip that I really enjoy. One of the things I love about the highlighters is that you're able to have so many of them. And I have all the colors. Look how cheerful and colorful that looks. I absolutely love it. It really just makes me so, so happy. Now I'm continuing on this way of writing when you can see right there, I just write it a little bit bigger and then add an extra line and then color in right there. I think it's fun. Do I think it's perfect and amazing? No, but I think it's fun. So it's definitely one of the reasons that I do it. I could absolutely pull out alphabet stickers, but somehow that extra step feels a little bit like, meh, I don't really want to do that. So I just write it out instead. Also, a game changer in the last year since I purchased those clean color dot markers has been those markers. Creating a icon or a bullet point with just the tip of a pen has changed my life. I don't have to pull up tiny stickers anymore, and I love them. So, if you're on the fence about them, I say do it. I use them every single day in my planning. A day doesn't go by where they don't get used. So have been well worth of an investment for me. Look at how cheerful and fun that looks. Just the colors are so vibrant and so pretty. I absolutely love it. Now, again, my son went golfing. Again, that's twice in 1 week. It's normally only like once a week, but hey, he's young, he has time. There's a very inexpensive golf course near us, so he manages to make that work and he loves it and spends some time with his good friend. So my son was sick this week. He had a cold, and we did do a home COVID test, which was negative, and I swabbed his throat, I swabbed his nose, we swabbed it all just to make sure, and it was negative. It was just a cold. So I made sure to notate that here. It's one of those reasons that maybe you're a planner, but you're not a memory keeper. I really say that they're kind of one in the same. I feel like a planner or a paper planner, especially a decorated paper planner, absolutely helps you memory keep as well. I know that it is an integral part in my memory keeping. It helps me keep track of all of the things. So if I want to go back and tell a story, all I have to do is look at my planner and I can get all of the details from that. So it's definitely been a game changer for me in the past 8 or 9 years that I have been decoratively planning. I absolutely love it. So now you can see how I left those spaces open. So for example, if you look on Thursday and Friday, there's definitely a large place. On Wednesday, that's the same. I am going to look at this as a whole, as I already said, to fill in that decor. I know that it feels a little like, that's kind of weird. And it was kind of weird, to be honest. However, I just knew that I wanted to be able to fill in some of those spots with larger elements that I still hadn't used from that stamp set. I really love the weekends too when I fill in both days at the same time. I just don't do creative things on the weekend unless I really have to. And so I it's really fun for me to fill in both days at the same time. All right, so now you can see I pulled the stamp set back out and I'm not going to pull out the Misty this time. I'm just going to use my ink pad or my clear block. Jeez Louise. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this before, probably not because I was using VersaFine before. I'm now going to use the archival ink because it's waterproof, and so these Tombow markers, I just want to make sure that there's no bleeding when I'm coloring them in. And look how cute those splotches are. I absolutely love them. And that color is Cobalt from the Stamp Market, and I love it. It's such a pretty color, and it just looks great right there. It absolutely looks like I squirted out some paint. Doesn't that look awesome? I love it. All right, so that's exactly what I meant. Like that just was a much more satisfying way to fill all this in than if I had done the each day. Now that stamp right there, you see, I just didn't do a good job. Like I just didn't pay that much attention. I just stamped it and it left, and I don't think I got enough ink on the stamp either. Because again, I just really wasn't paying that close of attention. So all I had to do, because it was black ink, was and a straight line, let's be honest. I mean, it wasn't like I was trying to trace a floral. I just drew it with my Sharpie pen. It wasn't a big deal. Now I am stamping in some little sequins, such a fun detail. And it just really makes it feel very playful to scatter those throughout. And then the sequins are very fancy too. I also can just imagine like a big bag of sequins, like from art class or elementary school, like in your art projects. And then another bottle of glitter, because I mean, come on, who doesn't want some fake glitter on their project? It's better than regular glitter making a giant mess, am I right? All right, so now I have selected the color pens that I'm going to use throughout the week, and I'm just going to color in all of these things, and then that's it. Thanks so much for stopping by and watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment box below, and I will do my best to get back to you. Thanks so much, and make it a great day.